came from a cycle of broken women. So my grandma, my great grandma, everybody I knew before me came from a broken home cycle. So why can't I be the person to fix the broken home cycle? I hear what you guys are saying all the time. He cheated on me. He wasn't this. He wasn't that. He wasn't this. But y'all gave up after the first try. You didn't give this person the opportunity to change. You didn't give this person the opportunity to show you that he grew from his mistake. So why can't I be that person to break that cycle? And that's who I am. Like, I understand you guys are stuck on a stigma of what the last person gave to you in a relationship. I'm going to be the person to break the cycle. He might have been a bad person at that point in time, but I see the good in him. It was a bad judgment. He found something out of that judgment. Let's carry forward and move on.
If one relationship is hard for you, 2 relationships, 3, multiple, any relationship is going to be way more problems for you. Is to actually fulfill these relationships, be everything to these relationships. Know that these relationships are not identical, so you have to fulfill them in individual ways. So I think when people get overwhelmed, they find the easier route. We know a lot of people find easier routes with anything in life. So I think it kind of drifted in that sense. And of course, basic to laws and everything, that kind of put, bigamy and everything into place for that. But if we're able and capable, now people are looking in a different light. A lot of people are practicing non-attachment. They don't want to chase to fill a void. They want to attract whatever's organic for them, filling themselves. So when you have that mindset, you can actually fulfill everything within yourself. I meet this relationship and I treat this relationship for whatever it is, knowing myself. I treat this relationship for whatever it is, knowing myself and knowing themselves too as well. But if one wants to attract something else or whatever, I'm okay with that. I want to know. I want to be able to have the ball in my court to make my own choices. A lot of people hate to have control of their own life. When it comes to marriage, what does the father do to the daughter? The father hands the daughter off to the next man.
As a possession.
As a possession. Mm-hmm. So if we're taught that, and that's programmed within us, what do you think we're gonna naturally do?
Possess.
So possess. This is what it is. We're gonna attach. I have ownership, but you have control of you. People lose their identity within a relationship because of their partner. Sometimes even unknowingly, because we find their interests so great because we want to be involved with them and attached to them. Their interests become our interests. We lose ourselves. And it's like really we lose a sense of self-dependence or interdependence. And then at the end of the day, we got to realize that we can organically actually put into the relationship ourselves, being ourselves, having our own interests, and we can collectively come together with their interests, evolving and strengthening our relationship. But people don't think in that way. People sit there and say, you know what, I feel like you're the leader or the main or the head of the relationship, so I'm just going to follow suit so much that I almost become you, losing myself in this process.
Me having 2 husbands,
they just living.
No, I could not have 2 husbands. I can have 2 men that I'm having sex with separately. It's going to have to be separate homes. It's going to have to be separate everything. Maybe I want to go on a date with one. I just want to have sex with the other.
But 2 different monogamous relationships.
No, because I have to actually focus on a relationship. Now, if it's strictly having sex or just,
that's easy.
I'm coming. This is your job.
That's easy. You can have multiple. But actually calling them my husbands and I'm spending my time and my energy and emotions and hell no, that's draining. Like that is very draining and it's demanding. And I already have a child, a small child. So I wouldn't need that in my life.
And actually, I agree with her on that. No, it is very taxing. It's very taxing on your mind. It's very taxing on your psyche. You have to spread yourself thin and actually take yourself out of the equation and only think about the other 2 people in your relationships at certain points in times. So it's hard for you to focus on you. So if you're in a monogamous relationship, then yes, you have that time to focus on you. But if you're in a poly relationship, you're splitting your time between so many different people. Where is your time?
So I love that. So let me ask you, with that being said, do you guys now implement those same thoughts to Alex? Like, hey, he has to divide his time. Do you use that same ideology and cut him some slack?
We try to.
Oh, they don't cut.
No.
not cutting slack. No,
Speak
fuck
for
that.
Yeah, see, I got you, bro.
I can be 100. I can be 100 and real with it. I try to, but the Leo in me is selfish.
Don't bring the Leo into this.
No, it is because in every other aspect, I see where you're coming from this. I see where you're coming from that. When it comes to something that is just selfishly for me, I can't see anything else.
I love your honesty, though.
No, yeah.
I can't.
I understand.
I can't see anything
That's a
else.
woman right there.
What?
All right, what about you?
This is what they chose. No, they chose to live this way.
With me,
Yes, I try my best to kind of cut him some slack and understand where he's coming from, because I could tell him straight up, no, I can't do it. I told her, no, I couldn't do it. If I was in her position, no. If another woman came into my marriage for 21 years, however long, no, I couldn't do it.
Poor Alex, man.
In my mind. But I've never had that with anybody. I've never had that longevity with anybody. I've never had those anything with anybody that long. So I can't say no, that's not possible. But in regards to Alex and just his mental and everything that he deals with, I try my best to understand, because I know it is very, very taxing. It's very hard. Me and Shalon were both fire signs. I kind of fade to the back, and he does say that a lot. He doesn't like when I do that. But in order for me to kind of let things play out and respect what's actually going on, I do have to fall back, because I'm a very strong personality and a very strong individual. So I'm going to look like I'm trying to, move my way, when really it's things that need to be worked out just solely between them two. I look at it like Shalon, I don't chalk it up to Leo, but I mean, if that's what she wants to say, in my mind, I felt like it's because she is his wife. And it's black and white. She's had him all these years. They had kids. They've moved from city to city. That ideal is hers. So I can't not act like that's not happening. So I do understand everybody's perspective, and I still try and kind of get in where I fit in, which is.
That's dope.
I have a question. No, Rico.
okay, I'm Thursday.
Let the ladies.
So, if it takes a lot of honesty with yourself to be able to partake in something like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And obviously, and if most of us are honest with ourselves, we know the hardest thing to do is to be honest with yourself.
Yes.
So, if you were going to tell someone or convince someone that, rather than leaving your marriage or rather than leaving your whatever, your long-term relationship, that this is probably something that is going to be beneficial for you, what would you tell them?
I've done that in the past, but it kind of was on the lines of convincing, kind of on the lines of just making her kind of see what was already going on. So by her coming to me, we were coworkers, and she would always, him and his baby mama, they ain't, she's around, he stayed with her, but he's saying he would be. It was a whole lot of bullshit. And I'm like, shit, y'all should just go out. You know about her, go for dinner. And everybody thought that was so mind-blowing. And I'm like, okay, well, what else do you feel like? Do you want to continue to talk to me every week about him and his baby mama? Or do you want to move forward from the place that you're at? Because if you know about her, she knows about you, he knows that y'all know about each other.
What's the problem?
All of y'all sit down.
And I love how she said not convinced, because it's not about convincing anybody. It's about really just being aware of what's going on. If we know about each other, we know what's going on, how long are we going to really play this game of deceit? How long are we going to play this game of, problems, being anger, hostility, but you still showing up to my door every day? Right. So it's let's go ahead and sit down, put everything on the table and figure it out. Can we actually get along? Can we see what's going on? Or do we got to really, dismantle this whole situation? But we obviously know about each other, and every time we come around each other, we're fighting. For what? What's the reason? We look ridiculous.
And then my conversation with people is, okay, so you've been going through the same cycle with this person, and they're having sex with this person, they're cheating on you with this person. What's your next move? If you're not going to change anything to change the situation, or you're content with being where you're at, why are we continuing to have this conversation every week?
All right.
Yeah.
So you have one or two choices: change the situation or be content with where you're at.
How do you deal when they team up and they join forces and come straight for you?
Can't do nothing.
Can't do really nothing. Yeah, exactly. Can't really do nothing. Just process the whole situation. Again, it's about being transparent and being honest with it. Self-acceptance is a very big thing in accountability within the situation. So if they're ganging up on me, I'm going to lay everything out on the table where their perspective might be incorrect. But I mean, you can't really fight against what they see. So you're really going to have to digest that information within yourself, process it, be self-aware, accept it. If it's really you, if not, come back and revisit that issue. But it's nothing that really lingers or really blows with each other.
But it goes three ways,
Man,
though. So it can't just be
it could be us two
them
against
two
that,
ganging up
and us
on
against
him.
Yeah, like, you know,
sometimes it's them,
I'm
and
like, you see
sometimes
that?
it's
Did
us
you
on
see that?
her.
Did
Like
you
it goes all three ways. So it's not a gender dynamic. It's just how the emotions are flowing at that point in time, and if the person is seeing what everyone else is seeing at that point in time, or are they just being stuck in their own point and ways at that point in time?
And that's only if it's a kitchen table relationship. That's a
what's a
poly
kitchen
term.
table?
Like kitchen table is when you have multiple partners and you're able to sit at a kitchen table and actually have, you know, drinks, dinner, chat with each other. Or if you don't have that type of poly relationship, you end up having a parallel relationship where you have multiple partners. They're parallel to each other, you know, being the same type of relationship with multiple individuals, but they don't have to engage or talk with your metamorphs, which is your partner's partner, or anything like that.
That's,
what was that
that's
term?
called parallel?
Wait,
Parallel kitchen table is when we can all sit together, chat, have drinks, you know, be cool with each other, engage. You know, it doesn't have to be nothing sexual, anything like
So
that.
it's kind of like what we were doing
like
right now.
just doing right now.
Yeah.
Just kicking it. You know what I mean?
So
but
on some friendship shit.
yeah, but we have an understanding of who's with who. They're both with me. What's going on?
Everything
Now,
is in the open.
if we were parallel, I'll be in a relationship with both of them, but they don't have to
we
like
don't
each
gotta
other.
know each other.
They, don't-
We
they,
don't
they
gotta-
could know
yeah.
about each other, but they don't have to
Living
get to know
together.
each other. They don't have to hang with each other. They just understand I have another relationship.
So I want to ask, and I want to bring back what Rico touched on, and the people in the audience is asking, like a bunch of people. What about the kids?
Before we answer this question, right, and I'm gonna let them answer the question themselves, is I want people to understand when it comes to children. Be transparent with your children, regardless whatever it is, because
About
you want the
anything,
information to
right.
come from you before somebody else, because it can be very incorrect. And we have to also understand that children are you were at an age where you were mature enough to take the information in. And one thing you want to teach your children is a healthy relationship. Because mama could be trapped in the basement while daddy playing games. It could be, the relationship could just be a stuck relationship with no love or intimacy going on. And that's what they could just feel like, hey, I got to make it work.
Your kids are like grown now and they're away. Were they in the house when this all took place? They were home?
Yeah, and what's so ironic is that my kids were so used to just seeing me and him for so long. When we inserted Chantel into the picture, they were like, okay, this is where mom has a friend. Where the hell does she come from? And why is she here every night?
What age when they first went to them, and what age are they now?
Like 14, 15.
14,
but we were very
No.
transparent.
No.
Yeah, that's all.
Oh, when this
that's what
first
I
happened,
said.
14, 15.
Yeah, and we're very transparent with our children. So it wasn't too much to where they were like, what's going on? It was like, okay, let me find out. Let us sit down. Family
And
we
once
have
they
family
picked up
meetings.
what
So it
was
was
going
like,
on, they were like, oh, okay,
yeah.
cool.
I have a question, right?
So
Do the kids, so for example, your kids, what do they refer to you as? And your 1-year-old, what do you want him, her to refer to her as?
Okay, so they call me by my name, but when they refer to me as, it is stepmom.
Okay.
And my baby, she calls her Lonnie Line, like it's a nickname.
she talks.
Yeah, so she tries.
turned one, so she just barely started making words.
She's trying. She knows the difference. Mom, Yaddy, Lonnie Line. So she calls her Lonnie Line.
I think the big,
But growing up, as she begins to get older, of course, she's going to address her to other people as that is my stepmom. Because that
just
is
be
her
like
stepmom.
Yeah, because it's very like when I told the
from a
two
baby.
oldest children, I was like, I can't really sit there and tell you what to identify Chantel as.
Right.
You got to have that organic relationship. And I told her the same thing too. You got to build it. I can't sit there and say you're an authority or you're anything. I got to let you know what you're going to play, because you may be a savior. You may be the confidant ear, whatever it is. But whatever it is, you guys got to develop it yourself. I can't sit there and just put that out there myself.
I'm wondering, like, how does this work out legally? As far as, like, I see all of you all have on, right. All of you all have on rings, and I know you guys were married previously. So how does it work out with the three of you, being in a relationship and being in a union? And like, how does it trickle down even to, like, who's entitled to what when it comes to your kids if something happens? Like, I know nobody want to know these details, but like, I feel like this is it's real
very
life.
Important. Yeah, no, it's very important.
Real
you want
life.
to put everything structured to have protection. That's what we were talking about earlier. A marriage license is a contract. So you could create and put everything on the will, make a power of attorney, anything you need to do. The second individual, we can consider a wife, but of course, on paper, it's going to be really just contract. Right. Legal names can actually be changed. And the steps are different, but you can still make the steps alike of what it is for a marriage license. So both women are protected, or there could be people more individuals. All individuals are protected as long as you put everything out there and really just could discuss that. And get those contracts. I will always suggest get those contracts signed. Just because at the end of the day, in a monogamous relationship, you don't know who's trying to leave with what or who's trying to fuck up. I got told the best thing. You never know an individual till the worst time.
You ain't lying.
So at the end of the day, protect yourself. It ain't gotta be bad that, that you don't love the individual. At the end of the day, when things are good, things are great. I had fun with you. But then when things are bad, you might do the most foul things, that puts us in a situation just because you want to be spiteful or petty or whatever it is. Just protect yourself, and it really doesn't mean you have to go really that deep.
I got a question, because we talked about poly, but you guys been monogamous before, obviously. Are there any pros in monogamy, in your opinion?
To me, I think there's pros in everything. Like I said, I'm big on pro-healthy relationships.
Absolutely.
If monogamy is for you, I'm not anti-monogamous. I'm for it if that's for you. I'm not, I'm not so pro-poly or anything like that I hate to see anybody one-on-one. Do what's right for you. Do what's gonna make you happy. And when I say you as the individual, because you control your own happiness, don't display that or project onto your partner. That's supposed to satisfy that. So at the end of the day, if it's monogamy, if it's poly, hell, if it's swinging, if it's whatever, do what's going to satisfy you and your relationship. Be transparent with your partner and keep a healthy relationship with a happy family. That's the goal at the end of the day.
Mr. Alex, you're a great talker. I see how this happens.
It's my own feelings. I can't project my insecurities on you. That's a me thing, So at the end of the day, if I have control of me, I'm cool. You're not going to take that power away. I'm not going to give nobody that power.
Absolutely.
So as long as I have control of that, I'm going to maneuver how it's necessary for me.
I really feel like they don't understand how much work it takes to put into a relationship like this. They feel like it's sex. And when they actually get down to the nitty gritty of it, I can't do this. This is not for me. Oh, that's too demanding. So I would say, yes, it's hard for them to kind of see how it works, and it's hard to understand that it actually does work with time. I mean, with work. It works with work. So basically, you have to put in the time. You have to put in. There's just everything, the energy that you would not necessarily put in, especially the times that we have today. Everybody is kind of the fuck it era. So if it don't work for me, if you're not doing what I'm doing or what I want, I don't got to talk to you. And then they move on to the next and next and next. If you actually want to put in time, it's the same amount of work that you do in a monogamous relationship as you do in a poly relationship, or non-monogamous. But it is kind of hard for people to wrap their brain around that. I can say that.
I have an audience question. So they want to know, like, so when it goes to like running of the home, right? So a lot of times we have men who pay all the bills and the woman, like buy groceries and furnishes and whatever. And then we have some people who do 50-50. Like, how do the finances work in y'all's house, especially with you having a baby and then you having like 2 grown kids?
I take a majority of the bills, but when we're doing it like that, when the kids were home, I took a majority of the bills because they need more than me. I don't really need that. I'm bald-headed, so what the fuck I need, you know? No, it was just how we balanced out. It was just, and the kids, you know, my daughter was working. She was still covering her own stuff, took care of her own responsibilities. My son, he was just, in freshman? He was a freshman?
No, he was a senior.
Senior, senior, yeah. So it was just, it's just really, we just find our own flow. I don't think, 50-50 is kind of like a little tough.
Aggressive,
It's aggressive. So it's really just find the flow of naturally what's going to work within your home. I don't want to suggest anything onto anybody because everybody's in different type of situations. I mean, we're in an era where there's a big thing of house husbands, you know, so I don't want to sit there and be like, yo, get your house husband off the couch. Run your house how you run your house. It ain't my house. But our house, we find a balance that works for all of us to make sure we're all financially good and stable.
So basically, whoever needs anything paid, taken care of, if you don't have it, someone else
will. Yeah.
So, it's
So
not
like,
just leaning on Alex.
if they can't call their dad, they'll call Chantel, they'll call me. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same with Soraya when she gets older. She's going to call me, she's going to call her mom, she's going to call her dad.
Or her brother and sister.
Or her brother
and sister.
Let's scratch that. She's going to call her brother and sister first. Because they're willing to come out of pocket first.
Yeah. The age gap is so different. It's 20 years. It's 20 years. I've started all over.
What if the woman wants to bring someone else into the relationship?
I love that question.
This is Anna Teza Banks _. I messed up your name, sorry.
For the beginning
I love that. I love that question because in these type of relationships, people got to understand you can leave it gender neutral. So if the man could take multiple individuals in, and remember, it's about fulfilling these relationships, being everything, mentally, spiritually, physically, everything to these other individuals that you're in a relationship with. The question should be said, can anybody take multiple people in? Are we prepared for that? Are we mentally? Are we mature for that?
Spoke about that.
Because it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. Because even at that, them not engaged in a relationship, they still have to take each other in. You know, so it's like figuring out a whole new relationship. I got to make sure when we have problems, we have situations, it doesn't overlap or go into this relationship. If it does, it causes tension, it causes friction between this relationship. Now I'm trying to fix this relationship behind this relationship. It's challenging. There's a lot of things under the blanket that we're not really looking at. People just fall in love with the idea of I have multiple people for sexual pleasures. And it's like, nah, let's go deeper than that. When I have an issue, are you going to be there? When I have to vent, are you going to be there? When I just need a moment, are you going to be there? Can you be the one for me? Oh, what if that person needs it at the same time?
Are you open to one of the ladies within your marriage? Is that the way within your marriage to bring in an outside partner? Okay, cool.
I would put a lot of responsibility on the relationship. Like, I mean, when y'all got each other, I could fall back and do whatever. But no, it was just as challenging because I got lazy. It gave me the excuse to get lazy. You know what I mean? If I would have put as much work as I do right now within then, and they could have gotten along on a biromantic and bisexual relationship, I mean, we could have caught a natural flow. But yeah, I could blame myself and say I got lazy.
Wait, can you be bi-romantic and not bisexual?
Yeah,
Yes.
It's two different things.
Can you tell us?
Biromantic.
I've actually never heard biromantic. That's why I was asking.
Biromantic is I'm romantically attracted to the same sex. I can go out, have dreams, kick it with you, connect with you, whatever romantically with you, I connect with you. Bisexual, I'm sexually attracted to the same sex. So some individuals can play with the same sex at the same time, sexual pleasures, but they don't know how to connect. You know, sometimes women love a man to come up from behind, kiss them, be aggressive, or be any type of intimacy on that level where another woman cannot do that. You know, so that's where the biromantic will disconnect at the end of the day. Bisexually, we can pull, toys out, enjoy each other, pleasures. It's a little more simpler. So it's really to understand that.
Is it more of a friendship based biromantic? Like how you connect?
You know what? That's why I had mentioned that. What do they call it? Bro love or whatever it is. Like it almost falls bromance. It almost falls into that category.
Gotcha. Okay.
And also like you have the word, but you have also heteroflux. What is it? I think it's heteroflux. I might be saying it wrong, but it's where a person could be heterosexual for a moment, but then want to have and engage, intimately with the same sex, so
like here and there.
Yeah, okay. Like I'm delivered, dude. I've been delivered. He switches.
Example,
yeah, because he switches. I mean, it may be like I'm just saying. It just.
I get what you're saying.